done a vendor event. One reason why I wanted to have this because I just signed up for my first one. So I have a great group of ladies who volunteered. Great, I'm very grateful for it to help me with this. So I'm going to be kind of going through the process of booking the event and now what do I do? So the questions that we received are going to be throughout the presentation. We kind of put them in order with the flow of how you would go about with the event. So we're going to start from the top and kind of work our way through to the end. Um, if you want to add things, ask things, please feel free. This is supposed to be like an open discussion, kind of like we're all just chatting and giving ideas. So don't be afraid to unmute and talk with us. We'll do the chat too, but sometimes with this, it's easier kind of just to talk and hear each other so we don't lose track. And I'm gonna be adding notes to this document for things that we hear that I think that we all need to have as a resource. So we will get this resource out to you once we have it more finalized. All right. So I talked in the meeting this month about, how do you find a vendor event? So I shared lots of tips if you didn't see that on how you can search Facebook, search Google with your location, look through the local events, filter, post in your community page. So there's lots of ways to find these events. This meeting, we're going to focus on, okay, how do you go about going to a vendor event? So, when you're booking the event, make sure that you ask, do you already have an Usborne Books and More vendor? Because we can only have one vendor per event. So, if someone is already assigned, um, then that's unfortunately going to be a no. But I got a no, and they put me on a wait list because if they don't hear from that person, then they'll contact me. So, definitely reach out, even if you're like, this event's huge, I'm sure they already have someone. Don't just assume because you never know. You can do a vendor event at a school if you're not an ESR. We researched through this. If the school does not have an ECR connected with them already, you can do a vendor event with them. But if they do have an ESR or an ESR is established before the event, then the spot would go to that representative. So then this takes us to our first question. How do you calculate the cost benefit ratio? So we were talking about this, and this is kind of a tricky one because it's all about why do you want to do the event? Like, what's your mindset? What's your goal? Are you trying to increase your customer base? That's one of the things I want to do. Okay, so it's not always about like, how am I going to sell a ton of books and am I going to make a ton of money? Well, in the long run, you might because of doing this event and the people that you're going to be connecting with. It's a great way to get yourself out there, meet new people. Um, so there's things that the girls do, like creating a QR code that they have at their stand for people to join their VIP. There's a form that you can get from the back office you can pay for and have them fill out that has a bunch of information that they'll share, and then you can enter them into a free book giveaway. Um, so it's kind of like you have to know your why for wanting to do the event. What's your main purpose? And then it's kind of just a learning process. Maybe you'll find an event, it'll be your first event, and it'll be huge and you can do it every year. Or maybe you'll learn, like, hey, this wasn't the best, but I met some people and they told me about another vendor event that I could try. So it's kind of for you to decide after you want, like, figure out your reasoning for wanting to do a vendor event in the first place. So that's not really a black and white answer. But if anyone else has anything to share regarding that, we would love to hear. But those are the different things that we thought through. And we know from lots of trainings that mindset, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah. So I know I'm one of the ones that brought up the form. So this is the form that I use. And this one was like filled out by somebody, but so all it is it's asking you can get this from back office in the supplies. And it just has the questions like we normally ask in our survey. And I just tell people as they come to the booth, I go, oh, you know what? I'm doing a free book giveaway if you want to fill this out. and I have them fill it out, and then I just fold it and put it into just a little bag. And at the end of the day, I pull a name out and I message them, but then I have their contact information. I also have what's the best way to keep in touch? Are you interested in receiving free books? So that's, are you going to host a party? Would you like information about impacting literacy? So joining. And then, do you know of a school or organization that may be interested in our books or a reading incentive program? And so I've actually gotten a lot of information from this last question about different schools to contact. I'm an ESR, so different schools to contact. Also different organizations such as churches, daycares, things like that, to contact to see if they want to run something else, like do some other type of program. It also brings up the question, like people ask about, oh, well, you do some kind of fundraiser. And so then that brings up talking about Cards for a Cause and talking about, you know, those kind of things. So lots of great information can come from just getting people to fill this out, let alone, you know, even if they don't buy something. So I think that that's a great, something like that to have, just to get information. How you create a QR code. There's free apps or free programs. On Google, I just type in free QR code maker. I know Kristen talked about that you can also do it on Canva. So I definitely need to look at that because I didn't know that it would do that. Yeah. So yeah, there's lots of ways you can do it. You just take your URL and you paste it in there and it creates the QR code for you. So it's not difficult. Then you just kind of copy and paste it where you want it to go. So
thank you.
Can I add a little bit too, Brittany? I just want to say that when I first started doing booths, I struggled with that too. Like, how much is too much to pay for a booth? Mm-hmm. Like, is it worth it? Is it, you know? And I think I would, if it were me again, starting out doing this for the first time, I would probably do like a cheaper booth. Just, you know, maybe $40, $50, $30 to $50 booth. And I would start there and see how you do and see how it goes for you, because I feel like you get the hang of it and you get the hang to, you know, you get to a feel for how it's going to go for you. And if it's something you're really going to enjoy. Then if you decide, yeah, this was awesome, I want to keep doing it, you could sign up for the larger, more expensive events. My goal is to always at least cover my cost. So if I don't cover the cost, then it's a question like, okay, I probably don't want to do that again. I mean, cost as far as
you can
covering.
Take him down to Dad and he can decide if you're going to have them.
Another thing to think about when you're looking for vendor events is there are some vendor events that require you to have specific things in your booth. So, you know, maybe don't start with one of those, because I have one vendor event who is like, oh, well, you have to have a backdrop and you have to have this and it has to have all these things and it's okay. So you're going to end up spending more money on, even though you can think of like cheaper alternatives, but you're going to end up spending more money on booths that are like, have to be judged. Like, I'm in one vendor event where the booths are judged, and so they have requirements, and that one is a more expensive vendor event because of that. My very first vendor event, I think, was $25, because I was like, I don't know if I'm going to like this. I don't know, because then you know, there's a lot of things that you have to do to have a booth. So, you know, definitely start out with something. I recommend starting out with something that's a little smaller, easier, because then you can figure out, do I like that I'm talking to all these people? Do I like all this face-to-face contact, or do I just like doing this? Am I not somebody who wants to be social in person? You know, there are some people who are awesome online, but that don't want to be in person. And so, you know, just to kind of get that feel, is this really what you want to do? Is it your, I guess, scene, or, you know, something like that. So Can I add one more thing? Um, I just kind of want to add, I have had a couple that have just been bombs. I didn't make my feedback, but I didn't take it as a negative thing because when we had slow times, I was talking to the people around me, and I am normally an introvert. My first couple of vendor events were very difficult for me to be like, step up and say hello and start asking questions. But I've learned to start talking to the vendors around, and that has really helped. Not only are they buying for their kids or grandkids as well, I have had so many times where we've said, I think we spent more here than we actually made because you're shopping at the other booths. Um, but also, I've met so many women that have said, oh my goodness, I do this vendor event, in the next town over, and we've been looking for an Usborne lady. And, they get your information as well as you get theirs, and then you kind of can help each other out. So it can be really disappointing to not have your booth go well, but try to interact with the other people because I've had probably 3 or 4 that have contacted me out of the blue saying, I got your name from so-and-so, as well as people that are putting on vendor events go to the surrounding events to find vendors, if that makes sense. I've had a couple stop by and say, I'm going to put on an event in August and we'd love to have you there, or you fit what we need. And so the contacts and the friendships that you get just with the people at the booth can really boost your business as well. So
Thanks. Okay, now we're going to talk about consignment, the big, scary, I feel like elephant in the room. Everyone's like, ooh, what's that? I don't know what to do. Okay, so now you have your vendor event and you need books. So about 3 weeks before your event, you need to determine what books you want to sell. And this you want to keep in mind, what is the event that you're going to be at? Who do you think are people, or what do you think people are going to be looking for? We hear lots of activity books, things that they don't typically see when they're out and about, like things that make us unique. So keep in mind, like the economy right now, maybe stick to a lot of like $10 and under. Some people say chapter books do really well. Books that your kids love and your family love, you're going to really like to talk about. So that's something to keep in mind too. You are going to be the one talking. So if you love a book, they're going to feel that and get that just from your enthusiasm. So specific about consignment. So it is the amount that you can take out depends on how long you've been with UBAM. So for an idea, 3 to 5 months as a consultant, as an active consultant, I should say, you need to be active. The minimum for all of them is $500. The max for 3 to 5 months is $1,000. 6 to 11 months is $1,500, and 1 year plus up to $2,000. We have a document from UBAM that goes over taking out consignment. So it shows you how to order it. I've never taken it out, but I hear a lot of the times, and from the girls, UBAM's not going to be like knocking at your door or emailing you like, you need to reconcile, like hurry up. Did you sell these books? So that's one thing to keep in mind when you're doing this. And this leads us kind of into our first question that Kristen's going to touch on. Do you recommend taking out consignment or buying books from e-commerce to get the 25% commission without the concern of having to send back items that you don't sell?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think we all kind of were in agreement that we would not recommend buying books to sell. Like, don't put that much money into an event. When you order consignment, you don't have to pay shipping or tax up front. You pay all of that after you've sold the books when you reconcile. And so you're basically like borrowing the books from home office. And so if you're wanting to have books on hand, order consignment. They make it easy. Like Brittany said, they're not going to be like asking you like, hey, did you sell your books yet? They're not going to hound you. When I have leftover inventory, like I will usually sell it in my VIP group as like an inventory sale, or like you can do like surprise boxes that you put together for people, or what, like you can get creative, or do another event if you liked doing the event. But yeah, they're not like, I've held on to, I moved some of my inventory from Kansas to where I live now in Indiana. Like it's totally fine. Like don't be afraid to take out consignment. If you aren't really sure if you want to take out consignment, another option would be to not do cash and carry. Like people aren't able to like buy the books right there and take them with them. My first event, I was still in my incentive period, and so I couldn't take out consignment. So I just took all the books that I had for my launch party and set them up and showed them. And I had like a laptop that I helped people order on, and people still ordered. There were a couple people I ended up like kind of reimbursing their shipping there, because like they were either buying a lot or they didn't want to pay shipping. So to get the sale and their contact information, I did that. But overall, like people still ordered, and it was a great way to get contacts that I hadn't had before. Like I booked a couple parties and got customers down the road. So even if you don't want to take out consignment, you can still do an event. You can still sell books. You can still book parties. You get creative, and it's still a lot of fun. So
Thanks. So am I frozen again? Everyone's frozen to me.
yes, you're frozen.
I don't know what's going on with my internet tonight. We've been having issues all day.
There you are.
Okay, here I am. I'm back. So if you order inventory, can you order more?
Yes, you can definitely order more. The only thing you have to be aware of is like your limit on how much you're allowed to take out. So if you're still pretty new and you have like $1,000 limit, say you took out like $700 the first time, if you only sold like 100, you're not going to be able to take out a $500 consignment order, because when you put in a consignment order, it has to be at least $500. I say 5,000 anyway, $500. And so yeah, but if you have like a bunch of events coming up and you need some more inventory, like you can put it in a support ticket, and home office will allow you to take out more if you need to. But I also recommend, if you still have a decent amount of consignment, just sell what you have. Like you don't have to have like all the things. You can pick a few things to focus on, and yeah, you don't have to take out more consignment just because you ran out of like a certain item. So, but yeah, you can definitely take out more before you sell everything you have.
Yeah, I submitted a ticket to home office, and I can take out 2,000, but I submitted them a ticket and I hadn't even taken the max 2,000. I only took like 1,000. And they were like, oh, we increased you to $5,000. So I was like, oh, I didn't need that. I just wanted to know if I could get more. And they gave me up to 5,000. So like, yeah, I just asked them, and they will help you out, which is nice.
Thanks.
Okay, so the next thing, how you need to determine beforehand, how do you plan to get bookings, or what are you going to do to try to incentivize people to want to book a party? So there's some ideas, gift bag promotion. There's a girl that messaged me on our team. She couldn't be here tonight, but she's doing gift bags with some like mini phonics books, a coloring page, some stickers, crayons. She said it costs like $4 a bag. So you can do gift certificates for people to host a party. But this was a question that we had. What are some top tips that you have to get bookings? So this one, we were kind of just gonna go around. If you guys have ideas, share them. Everyone here was just kind of gonna give some different ideas on things that they do for bookings during events. So Kristen, if you want to start, since you're.
Yeah, I can do that. So like Ashley talked about, there's that little form. I've used that before to get contact information. And then afterwards I text everyone and say, hey, thanks for stopping by my booth. You weren't my winner, but I'd still like to offer you like $20 in free books if you want to host a pop-up. And usually, like, I mean, not everyone obviously, but usually there's someone who says yes. And you can get a booking that way. Other things that I've done is like, I've had people come to my booth and like their kid will be with them and they'll be excited about the books, and the parents like, well, we can't get anything right now. I don't get paid until whatever. And you're like, well, you can get free books if you want to book a party. Like, it's just that natural in, like, hey, you don't have to spend money. You can still get the awesome books. So that's another thing, like just kind of looking for those ins in the conversation where it naturally comes up. One thing I tried recently, because I'd heard about it in a group, I only did it at one event so far, so I don't know how well it works, but I've heard it works well, is having like balloons blown up, and inside having like prizes, kind of like we do with like whether it's a free Shine a Light or a free sticker book or whatever. And then if they book a party, they get to choose a balloon to pop and get their thing. It makes a noise, it draws people to your booth. People are like, what is going on? Why are you popping balloons? So getting creative to draw people in, but also and have fun. And yeah, so anyone else?
I love that.
Yeah, I love the balloon popping idea. I never thought about that. And I know that some people have like a wheel to spin. So you have like one of those little wheels that has the like little ticks on it, and it has prizes like that. Now, the thing is that you do need to make it clear that, well, you don't get this prize, like you don't get your free Shine a Light, you don't get your $20 in books until you host the party and we're closing it out. And that's when you give the prize. And I know, was it this question that said like without being salesy or pushy?
Yes, that was another question. How do you get bookings without sounding pushy or salesy?
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's really it. And you know, you don't just go up to anybody that's walking by your booth and say, oh, hey, you want to throw a party? You find the people that come in and are like, and like Kristen said, are, oh, well, we can't buy a book right now. I don't get paid until, you know, such and such, or the people who are buying $100 worth of books at your booth. So it's the same kind of thing that you're looking for when you're doing an online party, you're looking for at a vendor booth. So you're not just like going up to people and saying, oh, you want to host a party? Oh, look at this. Oh, no, you know, because that is pushy, that is, you know, and you don't want to be like that. But it does naturally work into the conversation when you take what you've learned for the online parties as, oh, you know what, that's one of those people that are, I'm sure they want to host because they're buying like $300 worth of books, or, you know, they're buying all of the like early reader books, or, you know, they said, oh, they just had a baby. Oh, okay, well, would you like to get free books to add to your baby's library, you know, to do that? Or, oh, we have a cousin who has a birthday in a couple months, maybe we should, it's like, oh, well, have you thought of doing like a birthday bash for the cousin, or, you know, something like that. So it's not that you're like forcing it into the conversation. It's something that is you're listening for those cues to then add it into the conversation.
Thanks. Does anyone else have anything that they want to share?
I was just gonna share real quick. I tried to explain to you guys, but I'm gonna show. I've done like these little boxes. And I know people have gotten rid of, try not to do like the hostess packets that they send out because of the money spent. But these have worked really well at events for me. So I just get like a little, I don't know how, gift box. I put some paper in it. I do like the QR code for the catalog. I make like a couple little invites. I've had a lot of people ask for home parties lately. I do my business card with a QR code. And then I also throw in like white clean cards that I've hole punched can't tell if I'm giving you guys a good visual, but I've hole punched and then throw in for the kids, and then some stickers, and then this was kind of a letter template that Brandy had posted in, I think it's like the book or vendor event or hostess or something like that. I can get it for you if you need it, but just telling them how to have a successful party. And it's really simple. I mean, it takes me 5 to 10 minutes to make one or a few. And I've had really good success. They seem to like enjoy getting a special box when they book a party. And even though it's just a few papers inside, I've had my hostesses be extremely excited. My last one has been the best party that I've had here since I've been in Indiana. And she told all of her friends, and I ended up getting 3 bookings and a fundraiser or 2 bookings and a fundraiser from her party. And it keeps going, which is really good for me. I've had a struggle with getting parties. So for me, the boxes have worked. It's just something different and kind of fun for the mom to get instead of it being all about the kids. So
I love that. They're so cute.
So I'll share too. I was gonna, so my focus has always been to get bookings at booths because I feel like that just propels your business. And so like I've only ever done a gift certificate. I love all these other ideas. I might have to try some other things. But the gift certificate has worked really well for me, and it's pretty simple. Like I have a dry erase board with a calendar on it, and I have it sitting out on the tables with my books, and I put stars or whatever. I just with a dry erase marker, and I just put like, these are the days that I have open, you know, they're just starred. And as people are checking out, as they're paying for their books, I'll say, hey, I have some dates open. Are you interested in getting $30 in free books or $20, whatever I want to offer? I'm offering this to my to the people that are here today as a gift to be able, if you want to book a party, and these are the dates that I have available. And I've had several book from me. I had one of them actually joined after she booked with me. So I've never, I mean, I've had people say no, thank you several times, but it's never been awkward. I've never felt like I was being pushy or salesy or anything. It's just kind of, as they're checking out, like, oh, here, let me take your credit card. I don't know if you saw this, but if you want to earn some more free bucks, you can do it this way. It's just kind of more like as we're doing stuff. So it's not like, you know, in the middle of like, so it just kind of flows naturally, and it's worked really well for me.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna move on here because we have a time limit with our recording here. So another thing we don't really need to touch on too much is gathering the supplies. Like I said, we will share this form. Think of tablecloths, anything that you want to have your books stand up or to organize them with. A sign that says the form of payments that you accept, business cards, maybe some flashlight books or other books, the painting books that you can use, a tent if you're going to be outside. So it's cool to have kids kind of be able to have some books that they can play with as like a sample. So day of the event, as people start walking around, make sure you're standing up and smiling, converse with them, engage the kids, show them books that you think will excite them, and ask questions about their interests so that you can show them books that would appeal to them. Let them know different sales that you're hosting that day. Talk about a booking promotion as you're checking them out, like the girls had said, the different ideas.
Brittany, we can't hear you. Can you guys hear Brittany?
No, can't hear Brittany.
Nope, can't hear Brittany.
What was the last thing you heard?
Let's
asking
see.
questions or anything about
Yeah,
sales.
and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let them know about sales. That,
Okay. All right. Am I good now?
yeah, you're good.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll talk about booking promotions as you're checking them out. And make sure if they do want to book that you get their contact information so that you can reach back out to them. So accepting payment, we have some questions here about how much cash should you bring. Some people said they don't bring any cash. Some said, about $100. Some people, they don't have them pay exact change. Like if they owe like $20.19, they'll round to the nearest quarter, like round down to the nearest quarter. So that's all preference if you want to have cash, if you don't. If you have questions about Square, that's what a lot of people use. There is a fee, but you can get free processing if you have a referral code. So I would reach out to your team leader if you don't have an account. You get, I think, $1,000 in free processing. Some people, if they don't have any more free processing, if people are spending, more than $30, they don't charge them the fee, but if it's less, they do charge them the fee. Some people never charge the fee and they kind of just, write it off as a tax, thing for their business. So it's all in how you want to do it, but Square does seem to be the best and easiest method because you can import your inventory onto that. So it's a great way to keep track of what you did sell that day. So Ashley, if you want to say anything else about accepting credit cards for in-person sales, I know some people use Venmo and PayPal, so lots
yeah,
of
so you can definitely use the like QR codes for Venmo and PayPal, or even just give your Venmo and PayPal handles. I know a lot of some of the vendor events that I'm at, some of the like bakery people, like the people that have all the baked goods, that's all they do. But so with Square, you can get this little card reader for free when you sign up. And it works really well. You just scan their cards, attach it to your phone, a tablet, computer, just in the headphone jack. And I do really like Square because you do get to you can add, it's hard to see, but you can add, this is the library and it has all of our inventory in it. So you can get an inventory list and just upload it into Square so that you don't have to calculate tax. You don't have to calculate all of that. And so it's really wonderful to have there. Now, Square has the fee is 2.6% plus 10 cents for using the card reader. It is a little bit higher if you manually type in the card. The fee is, but I think like Kristen and I, we don't add the fee to the charge. We take that off as a tax write-off at the end of the year. And then others do add that, maybe add like 3% to it to cover those charges. But you do get $1,000 free. And then if somebody signs up underneath of you, then both of you get $1,000 free. So if you have multiple people, and then you can get more free with that. So I do think it's a wonderful thing. You can also buy larger ones where it's the tap or even like a cash register if you do get into the very large vendor events. So you do have that, but it works really well for me. I've never had an issue. Now, the thing is, you do have to have like not internet, but like data. It does utilize data. So if you're like way out in the country doing some kind of vendor event, which there are some of those, you might have to figure out how to do that. But
Can I just add something real quick? Is that I know Angel's sister had a problem with that swipe card reader. If people have a credit card that has a chip in it, they can dispute ones that have been swiped instead of using a chip reader, and it'll be taken off of yours. So like you won't get those funds if they dispute them. So it is beneficial for you to get a cheap chip reader if you're taking credit cards, just for the safety of that. I've never had that happen, and I was using this swiper for a long, long, long time. So it probably will never happen, but it happened once, and so it scared me enough to get one. So
Yeah, I've never had it happen, and yeah, I'm getting ready to get the chip reader because of that, because I read that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've never had an issue. I've never had anybody dispute. The only thing that I don't like is like, because I do use my phone, like I do have to hand my phone to people. So I've also gotten a tablet now that's specific for like my vendor events, so that I use my tablet for that. So.
Someone said, Rochelle said the swipe card reader does not work with newer Androids. I do not have a headphone jack or a lightning connector, so I don't know how to use it. I
Yeah.
did get a tap one though, but they don't have a chip. Okay, go ahead.
if you
Yeah.
have
I didn't know if we had time to talk about it, but yeah, like I can't use, I got the free one, like I took it since it was free, but I can't use it because my Android is like from last year and it doesn't have a headphone jack because they don't do that anymore. They have wireless headphones, and I don't have an iPhone, which is what the lightning connector is, unless I can get some kind of
You know what? There's some that you can put
something,
into, yeah.
I don't know if they make those. Everything I've looked up, like it's an adapter, but it has to connect with like a USB, and so I'm like, I need like a double ended adapter. I don't
the
know.
chip reader one for Square collects or connects via Bluetooth. You don't have to connect it at all. So that would be an option for you.
Yes, I did get one of those
Okay.
too, because I knew I had known about the issue with the, swiping if you have a chip, and a lot of people have chips now, but I just can't take somebody's card if they have to swipe unless I manually type it in. So yeah, it's like, just so people know if they're wanting to get one.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, and you have an Android.
Because we're gonna get cut off here. If anyone has more questions, you can send any of us a message or comment on the page and we can talk more. I'm gonna get this document, we'll all work together. I'm gonna have all the girls who do their events type up some books that they highly suggest, because that was one question that we didn't really dive into too much, but I'm sorry that we're gonna get cut off. I hope this was helpful for everyone that came. But yes, please message us if you have more questions. Does anyone else have anything to say for 10 seconds?